One of my favorite movies that I talked about this before is a movie In Too Deep, starring Omar Epps and LL Cool J. And I don't know if y'all remember this part, but when they were riding in the car, LL Cool J, his character was named God. And he was driving and he said something that resonates with how the black community is separated.
Motherfuckers want to feel like they're a part of something. Man, black people in this country, they want to feel like they are a part of something. No doubt.
When I saw that movie and I correlated to what we're talking about here, that's why we have so many people taking sides. And I've already come to the conclusion that the black community will not move ahead as one well-oiled machine. We're going to move ahead in pockets. And the way that I broke this down is by doing, a couple of images just to show you guys how I see these social media conversations. And it goes in the part with what the character God was saying. They just want to be a part of something. And that's why you see a lot of women say they're pro-black woman. And the first time that I heard about this was when I first, got on Facebook and I was listening to some of the black female content creators. And I kept hearing them say that they are pro-black woman instead of saying that they're pro-black. So basically meaning that whatever black women do, I'm for them first, as opposed to not the black community. I'm pro-black woman first. And that's where the sisterhood is derived from. Because you have women who will defend black women no matter what the issue is. We've seen this with the girl Carly Russell. And they'll defend whatever black women do, whether good or bad, because they are pro-black woman. And that is a particular group. But the way that I broke this down, I want to show you guys. So this is how we are right now. So those blue dots, they represent black men. The pink dots represent black women, of course, right? So right now, the circle represents the black community. The divide, that black line right there in the middle, this is what the black community is right now. And I know people like to say, well, we're not a community anymore because we're divided. No, we're still a community regardless. But the fact that we are in different pockets or separated, this is what I'm talking about here. Then you go down to here and you have men who are aware. I'd like to call them aware black men. I will put myself in that category. And you have pandering black men. So there's a divide between black men. If you guys didn't notice, because you have men such as myself who are very aware of what's going on in the black community because I did my research, pass that on to you guys, aware men. But then you also have pandering black men who just don't get it. And they refuse to get it because there may be some money involved. Maybe they get a little booty from these women that they're pandering to, so on and so forth. Shout out to Derek Jackson. Now, the women's side, they have this term called pick me. And I just became knowledgeable about this. And again, this doesn't represent all black women, but in this pick me category, they consider any black woman who understands black men and what they're going through. You're a pick me regardless, even if you're married or not. And then you have the sisterhood. That is the division between black women. Pick me or you're part of the sisterhood. And these are terms that I learned on social media. Like I said, I've been a content creator for about 2-3 years. I had a Facebook page for about 6 years now, but this is what I've learned. Then you go down to here. You have aware black men. You remove one and you put that guy over here. So let's say it's only 2. So this is how I view the men who lie to black women. I put them in the category of black women. They are a part of the sisterhood because they are pandering to black women to their detriment, mind you, in order to get a check. And it's sad because our women are very smart, but they don't understand this. They just like hearing good, and those men are able to provide that. And that's why you see more black men in other spaces talking about the same issues in regards to relationships. Because there's no reason for finance guys like Boyce Watkins. There's no reason for dudes like the guy Ian, the finance guy, to be talking about relationships and pandering to black women other than money. But black women fail to acknowledge that, and they continue paying these guys for saying foolery about black men. That's how it goes. And so those black men are in that particular category. Now, aware black men and passport bros. This is where it gets a little tricky. And like I told you guys, the passport bros are over here. So they've already made their mark in regards to leaving. They're gone. But in the sisterhood, you also have divestors who are trying to leave the black community, but for some odd reason, they just can't get married to white men. So they involve themselves in conversations about black men in the black community, because while they're talking, they're trying to get married to white men, but the white men aren't listening. So they have to spend their time degrading black men and somewhat threatening us to leave when they can't, because that's up to white men to accept them. Does that make sense? And also, the reason why I have the divestors on the fence, so to speak, is because they use terms as best man for the job, best man possible, which basically means that they're looking for other races of men to marry. However, if a black man just in a black man in shining armor and he meets all of her outlandish requirements, if he fits the bill, then I'll go for him, even though I would prefer to date and or marry a man of another race. So they say blanket statements are kind of hidden code phrase statements like best man for the job. And my message to black men is to not give those women an out. Don't let them straddle the fence. If they already determined that they want to date and or marry other races of men, that is their problem now. Those white men, those Hispanic men, those Asian men, Arab men, so on and so forth, have to marry those black women, because black men should not be available to them, because they've already said that they don't want to necessarily marry black men. Does that make sense? So if there's any black men that's watching this live stream and you are one of these black men that go under a black woman's content or comment section and say, it is good black men out here, you just got to get out there, sister. Don't give up on us. No, she already gave up. That ain't her choice no more. Her gripe is with the men of other races who haven't married her yet. So that's why the divestors straddle the fence, because they don't have anything else to talk about. If they were really serious about marrying white, Hispanic, Asian men, then they will be in their chat praising them or figuring out what they need to do to be more suitable wives for those particular men. But they can't, because ultimately is that man's decision to marry black women. So they spend most of their time making content about black men, so they're still within the black community, even though they're trying to separate. The Pastor Bros is completely different. Those brothers are already gone. They're making content from Colombia. They're making content from Brazil, Thailand. You know what I'm saying? They're gone. Wish you could say the same thing about the black women who are trying to divest, but they're not doing that. So they're here. So that's how we see the black community. That's how I see the black community. Now, let's continue. The last one. Now, again, sometimes when the Passport Bros make content, they'll stick their head back in the black community to make guys aware of what the hell is going on. They come back, they try to educate you guys on what we're seeing, and they go back to living their own lives. So they're a little bit involved in the black community, but not at some times. Now, you got me there. And I know I get a lot of flack from black men, because they're like, man, why are you always trying to give them advice? So you got me with a little bit of side right here. And I'm going to explain why. Because for one, I have a child. I have a daughter. And also, I do care about black women getting the best information possible. So I do try and spend a little bit of time trying to educate them on how to move, even though the majority of them don't listen to me. I understand that. But in the process, I think I'm doing both black men and black women a service by giving these statistics out there so you guys can arm yourselves in these conversations. even though the majority of black women won't listen, but at least they'll know where the truth is. So that's where you have me. I'm right there, majority on the side, of men, because I am a black man. Of course, we all have biases, and that's one of the, we're going to talk about that in a second. In-group bias, out-group bias, so on and so forth. Saying panders, divestors, sisterhood. So you can see we're somewhat kind of outnumbered at some points as being aware black men. And that's something that I think we're able to sustain because we're more solution-based. So no matter what the black community likes to say about aware black men or black men who are just not going to sit there and lie to black women or going to put up with foolery, they've already removed us from consideration. However, they still bring their happy asses over here and ask us for help. So my thing is this: to all the aware black men who don't go with the common narrative that black men are deadbeats and so on and so forth, make the black community utilize the panders, make them utilize those guys for the handiwork that needs to be done in the black community. Make them utilize those types of guys to marry the single mothers. Yeah, that is not your job. You remove yourself from consideration. So every time you hear Dr. Umar talk about black men, just understand that he ain't talking about you. He talking to guys like him. That falls on the panders now. It falls on the sisterhood. It falls on the divestors, because the best thing that aware men can do for themselves and for the black community is become better and not be one of the guys that they use. They like to paint black men as the majority, but they're really the minority. The Pookies, the Ray Rays, the small minority of black men who are in jail for doing foolery. The best thing that you can do is improve yourself, and in turn, that absolves you from being a part of the black men who are doing the most damage in the black community. Because the more that we have more passport bros, then you'll start to see that there's not a lot of black men around here to be blamed. The more that we have more aware men that are focused on their purpose, becoming better, increasing from the 57% that are in the middle class to going upper class, getting those trades, generating, generational wealth, then there's not going to be enough black men to blame. Good black men to blame, mind you. So I don't give a damn about what Dr. Umar says about we need to be going back. Y'all need to be, Boyce Watkins, y'all need to be marrying these single mothers. No, you talk to the panderers, the ones that resonate with this false narrative. That's their job now. So there is a divide. Even though we're the black community, there is a divide. And I want to make that very clear. The aware men understand. So we're not involved in that conversation. But our contribution will definitely affect the black community, whether it be good or the bad, which basically means that there's more marriageable black men that are leaving, even though there's more married men than black women as we speak. So that's what I see moving forward for the black community. It's not the fact that we need to come together, cute kumbaya. It's not going to happen. I've already come to grips with that. It's not going to happen, in my opinion. I don't think there'll ever be a time in the next 50 years where black women will sit down and listen to the statistics and start taking some accountability for the lack of families that we have in our community. Because y'all asses decide to have kids with a small minority of black men, and those men can't be in 5 places at once. So when people say, yeah, we have a problem with fatherlessness in the black community, we absolutely do. But it's not for the reason that you think. The reason that we have an issue with fatherlessness in the black community is because black women are having kids with a small amount of black men who aren't taking care of their kids. So you can't expect a guy who already has 4 kids by 4 different women to be in 4 different houses. But y'all sit there and celebrate Nick Cannon's dumbass for making all these fatherless homes, but the go-to is he has money so he can have as many kids as he wants, right? That's what y'all say, y'all dummies. So yeah, there is a problem with fatherlessness, but it's not for the reasons that you think, because we already know 54% of black men ain't never had kids. Only 46% have ever fathered children. And out of that 46%, we have 36% of black men that are married right now currently. And from that 36%, 31% of those black men have children. So what does that tell you? The fatherless issue is with a small minority of black men, and the accountability falls on black women for failing to pick the right guy to procreate with. So yeah. So if you hear anybody on these political stage spaces and they talk about fatherlessness, it's not because of the majority of black men, the overwhelming majority of black men. Black women need to take some accountability. That's all I got to say about that. Shit crazy, man.